The Chicago Bears made a lot of moves this offseason, but there is one move that seems to rank above the rest, according to Sports Illustrated, as the worst value move of the offseason by any team in the NFL. We got to talk about all that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. Only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So, according to Sports Illustrated, who just did an article on their best and worst NFL value signings, there's one name that seems to top the rest among the entire NFL. And right now they have that as newest Chicago Bear, Grady Jarrett, who's getting a 3-year, $42 million deal, $42.7 million deal, where, listen, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it is not an expensive deal for the Chicago Bears, but when you talk about the value of this deal, is it the worst deal? Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below before I dive too deep into this. Drop a Y for yes, drop a N for no, and I'll let you guys know how I feel here throughout the video. Listen, what they said here in the article was it's surprising to see so many teams splurge for older defensive tackles, especially in a rare draft year with plenty of depth at the position. Perhaps it could be because defensive tackles take longer to develop, leading teams to overpay for such as Milton Williams and Tershawn Wharton on the open market. But Jarrett in his age 31 season and is in his age 31 season, and his production has declined the past few years. It made very little sense for the Bears to pay him like every down starter and offer him $27.25 million guaranteed at signing, knowing there's a strong chance he'll be a quality rotational piece for them. And here is my stance on this, right? And I said this when the Grady Jarrett signing was made. The word that was thrown around last season a ton was accountability. The word that was thrown around last season a ton was accountability. The Chicago Bears didn't have enough players on the field, didn't have coaches that were going to hold them accountable, and at the same time didn't have enough players on the field who were going to hold them accountable. And the players who were trying to do that were people who, listen, as me and J Mac have talked about a ton over on the Chicago Bears podcast, it's very tough to be a leader if you're not on the field, on the practice field, play in and play out. There's players that we had that were like that. There were some players that it seemed like the message just fell on deaf ears. Cole Kmet talked about that a ton. But I left this season going, wow, I really wonder. You look at this list of 8 dudes on the leadership council. Are there leaders on this team? I think we have a bunch of lead by example guys, right? I think Jalen Johnson, great lead by example guy. I think that Montez Sweat, great lead by example guy. But do you have that guy who's going to, hey, let's get this in order? The guy that's going to snap everybody too. That was the big question for me leaving this season. And that's why, to me, the signing of Grady Jarrett is a good signing for the Bears. Still a productive player. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Grady Jarrett's production is the same as it has been over his career, right? He is in the down part of his career, but sometimes you have to pay for that leadership to come in that still can give you the pressure numbers, which he still had good pass rush win rate last season. He still was getting pressure on the quarterback. Yes, the sack numbers are down from maybe what we're used to when he's been at his highest of highs, but there are seasons where Grady Jarrett had 2-3 sacks and still was being very valuable in that defensive line room, I should say. I think that that's something to me where, when you talk about bringing a guy in like Grady Jarrett, it's not just for the player on the field. It is for the accountability. It is for the leadership that he's going to bring. Now, am I going to sit here and tell you that this is the best contract to give a guy who you're bringing in essentially to be a leader who maybe is on the downward end of his career? No, I'm not going to say that it's the perfect contract that I would have loved to see Grady Jarrett get. But what I do like about this is you're getting the leadership value in the room. I also like the fact that how his contract is set up, The Bears can be out of the Grady Jarrett contract basically by 2027 if they want to be, if he is done, if he does look horrible on the field, right? But what you're trying to do here in this first year with why you're overpaying, why you're getting the money involved in the Grady Jarrett market, and why you're getting this done now is because you need an answer at that defensive tackle spot outside of Andrew Billings. Javon Dexter feels like he's developing into that. But you also want that rotation of guys that can come in. As Ryan Poles said, those waves of defensive linemen that can be impactful on the field. You need to have that if you're going to be successful. I think that does include some of the veteran guys. That does include bringing in guys who are still able to get that production, that pressure, but also teach some of those young guys, okay, this is the value of what you can do here, how you can make this move. One of those guys who essentially can be the accountability voice on the defensive side of the football. If the Bears didn't feel like they had that, which I think most Bears fans didn't feel like the Bears had that, that means you have to go out and get that. And listen, it doesn't mean you can't go out and draft a rookie still at that position. But what it does mean is you feel like that there was a lack of that in your locker room. One of these players became available. You have a defensive coordinator in Dennis Allen who's done a great job at using players like Grady Jarrett throughout his career. This could be a relationship that works for you and brings some stability and accountability to the Chicago Bears defensive room. I think that the Grady Jarrett signing, am I going to sit here, like I said earlier, and tell you this is the best value ever that you can get for Grady Jarrett? No, it's a big contract. It's a lot of money. There needs to be production that comes with it, but he still can be a productive player. He's just not the same prime Grady Jarrett that he once was. And what does that foundation that he builds up here in Chicago for the next couple of years do for the long run of this team? I feel the same way about going out and getting Joe Thuney, right? To me, going out and getting Joe Thuney, whatever you're going to end up extending him for, it just makes sense because, hey, you didn't have anybody who the offensive side of the ball had to listen to. Now you've got somebody coming in who's got 4 Super Bowl rings on his hand and essentially can look at whatever the competition is or look at whoever else is on that offensive line room, I should say, and say, hey, listen, we're not going to be jumping for false starts. We're not going to be missing here. We're not going to miss our assignments. Hey, we're not going to miss our lift dates. If you got 10 reps, do 10 reps. If you got 8 reps, do 8 reps. We're not doing 7 and coming up short. You need to have that. Listen, the accountability from the coaches is incredibly important. But if the message is not going through the players, from players who can set that standard, who can set that tone, then you really have nothing. And realistically speaking, you've got 2 players now on both sides that you can do that with, that can say, hey, you want to know how we got to this? This is how we got here. Because no matter what, all of the Bears we have on this team outside of Kevin Byard and that it might be Kevin Byard without, I'm talking about not with the pieces that we just brought in. None of them have seen success. Most of them have been here. Oh, Tremaine Edmonds too. Tremaine Edmonds has seen success. Yeah, I give him that. Tremaine and TJ have both seen success, but Tremaine playing poorly, right? A lot tougher, kind of a lead by example guy as well. Like, to me, I guess, like, my point in all of this is you need to have those guys who have been successful in the league and who have that cachet and who are those vocal leaders that can also back that up with the play on the field. To me, that's what Grady Jarrett is. I think that you didn't have that guy on this team currently. You didn't have that guy who was going to be the vocal, the physical, the lead by example, the everything that you need kind of leader. And that's why I still like the value on the Grady Jarrett deal, getting Grady Jarrett in here at whatever it costs to get him. And because, realistically speaking, it didn't take you out of the market of anybody. It doesn't take you out of the way of going and drafting anybody. It's a 2-year deal for Grady Jarrett right now. It's 3, but I mean, realistically, it can be 2 if you really want it to be. Like, there is opportunity for you to go out here and still get his replacement. Guess what? If Mason Graham is somehow there at 10, Mason Graham is going to be on the Chicago Bears with Grady Jarrett, with Andrew Billings, with, like, it's a no-brainer. You're still building for the future, but you're trying to get those guys in here who can help you to set a foundation that is going to be sustainable, and that's what the Chicago Bears need most. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. I'll be down there talking with you guys as well. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Do you think that the Grady Jarrett signing was the worst value signing the Chicago Bears could have had? I don't believe so. But I mean, listen, If you talk about dollars per production, I can see the conversation. But for me, I think it goes deeper than just the dollars per production for the Chicago Bears here. But hey, let me know how you guys feel in the comments below, man. I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, it's your boy Pat, the designer, back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down. One love. Peace.